Well, hello everyone. This is John Byrne again with Poets and Quants, of course. You are at Center Court. It's yet another session to help you find the MBA path that you really need and you really want. Today, our talk is called Forging Your Path with MBA Admissions. We're going to focus on three schools that are present in the house right now. We have the Jack Welch Management Institute. Carla Mueller is the Director of Admissions, a very familiar and friendly face over the years. Welcome, Carla. From Notre Dame, we have the Interim Director of Enrollment, Cassie Smith. Welcome. And
Thank
from
you, John.
Thank you. And from Carnegie Mellon University's Tepper School of Business, we have Tony Gomez Sr., who's Associate Director of Master's Admissions. Hey,
Pleasure.
thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to this session. We may have one other person joining us later, but we'll see if that comes to pass. If it does, I'll introduce that person immediately. So let's just get a general overview. Now, these are the three programs here are dramatically different from each other in almost every way. And I love that because to me, what it shows is the incredible diversity of choices that you have if you want to pursue an MBA degree. So the Tepper School, of course, has long been known for its quantitative approach to business and management. And with the rage in data analytics, basically Tepper is surfing a really interesting wave. So Tony, I wonder if you can give us an overall view of the full-time MBA program at Tepper.
Yeah, happy to. So Tepper, we are located at Carnegie Mellon University, and we are a renowned institution that's really dedicated to preparing our future business leaders through innovative education, cutting-edge research, and a commitment to excellence. We have been on the forefront of this concept called management science, where we are looking at the data behind the decision-making that business leaders use. And now we're taking a leadership role, thought leadership role in the field of AI as well, and how we're using that new technology, artificial intelligence, to integrate it into those decision-making experiences. We're really trying to empower these future business leaders with the knowledge, skills, experiences that they're going to need to be able to tackle this rapidly changing world. If their goal is to advance their career, make a difference in the community, we're hoping to provide the right combination of management science and our art of leadership as well to help students achieve their goals and lead the intelligent future from a Tepper MBA.
Great. And you have a beautiful new building. I've been in it many times. It's really fabulous. It's at the center of the Carnegie Mellon University, not on the periphery, which it had been in the past. And the whole idea is to be really connected with all of the university. And I should also say that not far away is the studio where Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was recorded.
It's right in our backyard.
For many, many years. And then we have a school that has really been a pioneer in the field of corporate ethics and thinking about the humanistic side of business at Notre Dame. And you actually have two programs. You have an accelerated MBA and you have the traditional two-year format. Give us the sense of how those programs differ from each other and what you're trying to teach in them.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Thank you for having me here today. So once again, I'm Cassie Smith, have served in an admissions capacity at Mendoza for over 10 years now. And so we offer the full-time traditional two-year MBA at Mendoza at the University of Notre Dame. And like John mentioned, we also have always had a one-year accelerated MBA as well. However, just recently, John, we have decided to sunset the one-year MBA.
Oh, that's right. We actually wrote about that, of course.
Yeah. So that was done recently. We have just found over the last few years that students really desired that two-year degree, very much so needing that internship between year one and year two to get to that post-MBA career goal. Oftentimes students, after they were there for the 1 year, they would always say to me, oh, I really wish I would have done the 2 year. in
I
order
bet.
to really take advantage of all the, experiential learning opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, just that 2-year traditional program is now offered. Typically our class is small in nature. It's kept small on purpose, usually around 120 to 130 students. We want it to be an incredibly collaborative environment. That is one of the key differentiators of the Notre Dame MBA, is that you are really surrounded by individuals who care deeply about you. It's collaborative. They want you to do well, but at the same time, it's competitive too. I think what makes Notre Dame unique is that collaborative nature combined with that competitive sense of really working to be your best self, pushing you to be better, pushing you to think differently. And I think it's those two things existing together that are really what makes Notre Dame what it is. I'll also say that Notre Dame was founded, the university as a whole, as you mentioned, on the landscape of being a force for good in the world. And the MBA program is taught through that lens, looking at how we can use business for impact. And I also think that makes our program distinct and unique as well.
And let's not forget the alumni network.
Yes.
Really second to none. I mean, people who graduate from Notre Dame, I mean, they're obsessive people about the school. They feel very strongly about the school. They're very loyal to the school. They're loyal to each other, and that's a real plus.
That is so true. Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Whether you did your undergrad at Notre Dame, whether you're in the law school, in the business school, if you're from Notre Dame, you're from Notre Dame. And I've gotten to see that firsthand, that people just go above and beyond for their fellow students, for other alums. I think it's something that having Notre Dame on your resume is something that can open doors, because people are so compelled to help fellow Notre Dame alumni. They care so deeply about the place. And it's that mission, I think, that ties everyone together and really, I guess, brings out the best in people, I would say.
That's great. Thank you, Cassie. And then we have, of course, a fully online program, and one that's different from any other online MBA program because it's incredibly practical. It's really straight at you, the same way that Jack Welch, the legendary chairman and CEO of General Electric Company, was. If you don't know Jack, let me tell you a little bit about him, because I've spent over 1,000 hours one-on-one with him when I collaborated with him on essentially his memoir and his biography, called Straight from the Gut, which was a New York Times bestseller for 26 weeks. Jack was a one-of-a-kind person. He was so passionate about business, and he had so many ideas about business that this program basically brings to life, that makes us truly unique. And to talk about it, we have Carla, the director of admissions, a longtime friendly face to me. Carla, tell us a little bit about the program. This is a fully online program, and you can do it in a relatively brief amount of time.
Absolutely, John. Thank you so much for having me, and it's great to be here. As you mentioned, I'm the director of admissions. I started supporting Jack and Susie from almost day one, so going on 13 years now. So I'm the director of admissions, but I also went through the program myself, and very much like Notre Dame, our alumni are so passionate about the program. We have an incredible community, but I love what you said, John, about Jack's passion for business, but he was also very passionate about people. In fact, at one of the graduations, I remember him talking about the whole reason he created this program is he wanted to empower people, and he wanted to give them all. The mission of our program is to give our students the skills and tools that they need to become better leaders, build great teams, and help their organizations win, and help them win in life as well as just in business. So he was very passionate about that, and we've carried on that passion as well. But as you mentioned, ours is unique that, most other, business schools and MBA programs teach about great leaders, and ours was built by one, personally built by one. And of course we have our 150 award-winning faculty, but the beauty of our program and the thing that it makes it so different is it is 100% online, John, and actually 99% of our students in the program are busy working professionals. So that flexibility is really key. And then what really sets us apart is all of our faculty, and our faculty are experts in the field that they teach. Poets and Quants has ranked them in the top 3 in the last 3 years of all the top ranked MBA programs because of not only their expertise, but also the level of engagement and hands-on coaching and mentoring that they give students. We keep our classes very small. Our classes are never more than 20 students, even if we're enrolling 300 students a quarter. We're keeping our classes small so that they get that level of engagement from the faculty. But we do have students from, all 50 US states and over 80 countries now worldwide. The online asynchronous format makes that possible for really busy working professionals all over the world to be in class together. And so again, the really unique thing is that the way it's designed, who it's taught by, and how it's designed to be so immediately actionable and practical. And, because of that, more than 2 out of 3 of our students, John, are telling us that they're getting, promotions and or raises while they're going through the program, not to mention what happens after they earn their MBA. And it can be completed in 1.5 years, but it doesn't have to be. If students need to take 3 years to get through the program, that's fine. My husband actually went through the program. He took 4 years to get through the program. So it's really depending on what's going to work best for you.
And I will say this one thing that's kind of unusual is the emphasis on student satisfaction. It's measured on a consistent basis. I know, look, when I was working with Jack on his book, the thing he would look forward to every morning were Nielsen ratings for NBC, because GE owned NBC. And in the latter years, when I would talk to Jack, what he looked forward to is looking at the student evaluations of the MBA candidates in the Institute and call up and rail into anyone who was performing well, which is totally Jack Welch in every possible way.
That's true. And those are our NPS scores. We call them voice of the student. We do them every
Net
single
promoter score, it stands for
Net promoter
NPS.
scores, yep, and ours are consistently in the 80s, which is if you look at the average for higher education, it's somewhere in the mid 50s, and 80s is considered off the charts, and we're consistently in the 80s. So it's just a great, and Jack, that was his focus. He wanted this MBA program where students are the focal point, not the teachers, and we're never going to put our faculty on tenure. The student success is the success and satisfaction, I say, is the main mission of everybody here at JWMI.
And the NPS, just for, the average NPS on the iPhone, which is one of the most popular, most admired products in the world, is in the high 70s. So to be in the 80s is really spectacular. So Tony, what are you looking for in a candidate? So when someone applies to Tepper for the full-time MBA program, what do you want to see?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So obviously we take a look at those hard data points, right? We take a look at the test skills, the GPA, the academic preparedness that's coming in, but there's that holistic quality that we're looking for in a student as well, right? We're looking for the way students comport themselves within the interview, right? What is their posture? Are they determined? Are they showing that they're open within their communication skills, but also their thought process? Can they contribute positively to a classroom or to a group of students, right? Are they going to be a collaborator within this community that they're joining? Are they community minded above all? Can they show us that they have the grit and determination to make it through a program with the rigor of Carnegie Mellon? Do they have a clear set of expectations for themselves after they graduate from the program? Truly, we take a very holistic approach to this. There is no one size fits all to an MBA candidate in our estimation. There are a lot of different criteria that we use and that we're looking for to bring our students in. I always say that my job in admissions is to admit you into the school, right? I'm going to take as open of a position as I can to make sure that you're successful and that you're going to be a productive member of our community.
Right. Now, do you grant GMAT and GRE waivers?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We believe that there's more than one way to show your academic prowess.
Because I imagine that if I had an undergraduate degree in engineering or computer science from Carnegie Mellon, you wouldn't have to be worried about me doing the quant work in the core courses, right?
Exactly. That's exactly our perspective. If you're coming to us with a major that's steeped in quantitative rigor, we're going to consider that in the GMAT standardized test score waiver and try to make some accommodations for you.
Now, let's disabuse anyone of the myth that you need to have an engineering background to get admitted to Carnegie Mellon's MBA program. Now, I know a lot of people do have engineering
Mhm.
backgrounds who go to the school. That's a natural because of Carnegie Mellon's incredible worldwide reputation for engineering and computer science. But you're looking for all kinds of people, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I welcome a diverse class from different academic perspectives. We do have, your engineer major, right? About 40% or so of our current students are engineers, but the remaining 60% is a smattering of other disciplines. We have lifelong educators in the program. I've worked for admitting a PhD recipient in English into our program as well. So, for me, that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum
That's a real
compared to an
poet.
engineer, right?
Right.
Definitely not a quant there.
No, but we really try to meet the student where they are. Um, if you're looking to build your quant expertise and your technical skills, we can help you do that. If you have that expertise, but you're looking to build some of those transferable skills, your presentation skills, right? Your persuasive skills, we can help you do that. So this program really is for anyone from any major.
Great. Cassie, what are you looking for?
Yeah, thanks so much. Great question. I align with Tony on a lot of what he said. It is such a holistic process where we care deeply about every piece of that application puzzle. And so obviously people often get hung up on GPA or their GMAT score, but at the end of the day, everything that you as an applicant bring to the table is important. And so that interview piece that Tony mentioned is incredibly important. We want to get to know you as a person. It's easy to read about you on paper, but it's so much more valuable for us to have a great conversation during that interview piece of the puzzle. So who are you? Why are you interested in this degree? Why do you want an MBA? Why are you applying to Notre Dame? What is it about this place that brought you to this point? And so every piece of that puzzle is important. We're looking for students who also align with the mission of Notre Dame, as I spoke to earlier, that care deeply, about the greater good and using this degree as a force for that. And then at the end of the day, we often get the question, what's an ideal MBA candidate look like, right? But I think it's more so for us, and as Tony mentioned as well, it's building that ideal class, right? People who bring different things to the table, who don't all have the same background, who come from different places and different industries. And speaking of unique people, we had a monkey scientist a few years ago who pursued her MBA. And so I think it's about putting all those unique backgrounds in a room together. And that's where I think the magic happens of an MBA.
And Cassie, do you require a GMAT or GRE? Do you grant waivers? Are you test optional? Where are you now?
Yeah. We also have a waiver process as well. So requiring the GMAT or the GRE, however, you can within the application submit, I think it's around 150 words if you want to apply for a waiver. So we still have the waiver process in place. However, I would encourage the majority to take an exam. I think that's a way to show that you're academically ready. You can academically handle the rigor of the MBA. I will say if you apply for the waiver, we are, to Tony's point earlier, we are going to zero in on those quantitative courses that you took during undergrad. And so that's just something, an asterisk I like to add, that if you go that route, we are going to be looking that you can handle the rigor of the program in other ways.
Yeah. No one wants to admit someone who could fail. Everyone
Correct.
wants, you to arrive, be successful, feel fulfilled, know that it's a
100%.
meaningful journey for you. And the last thing you want is someone who really can't handle the minimal quant. And it really isn't a heavy duty lift, let's face it. The other thing that these tests do, to be honest, is they help you prepare yourself for grad school, because after all, you may have been out for 4 years, 5 years from your undergrad, and you're not used to taking tests anymore. You're not used to studying. You're doing the daily grind and getting back into it. and preparing for those tests could be very helpful to you. As much as I hate standardized tests, sure everyone out there hates them. Now let's disabuse one myth about Notre Dame.
Okay.
Don't have to be an ex-altar boy like me or a Catholic to
100%.
go to Notre Dame, do you?
Thank you for mentioning that, John. Yeah, I think it's often a misconception that everyone that comes to Notre Dame is Catholic. I am not Catholic. I would say probably around 25 to 30% of our MBA class even identifies as that. So Notre Dame is an incredibly inclusive place. We often say that it's Catholic with a big C, but Catholic with a little c as well. So open-minded, wide-reaching, a place that everyone can truly be who they are. And I think that's something that I've found in my own career there, but I also see in the student experience as well. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I definitely think it's a misconception that, everyone is going to mass every day. So that's available for students who want to participate in that, but it's not something that's required in the program.
Well, I always say, because I went to parochial grammar in high school and went to mass every single morning before I went to school, I paid my dues. Okay. Anyway, Carla, one of the interesting things about your program is that you tend to attract a slightly older candidate, someone who's been well into the career, has a lot of work experience. Your candidates look more like executive MBA students than they do traditional MBA students, right?
100%. In fact, the average age of our students 42.
Right.
Average years of experience is 17 or more. So we definitely, and as I mentioned earlier, 99% of our students are busy working professionals, and not all of them. Some are in transition. We actually attract a lot of military folks to the program, so we get a lot of military officers that are in transition. So we do have people in transition as well, but it is definitely, a little bit more seasoned student that is attracted to our program. And especially because, is really the emphasis of the program is that you're applying what you're learning to what you're doing or what you've done in the past or what you're planning on doing in the future. So it's not as, applicable for somebody who has no work experience. And in fact, on that note, the GRE or GMAT is also a requirement for us, but we do waive that based on experience. So, and we interview every single candidate before we accept them into the program, either before or after they apply. And what we're really looking for, John, is we're looking for students who have grit. Like Tony said, grit is really important, who have that growth mindset. We want students who aren't afraid to apply what they learn. And really, most of all, we're looking for students who just have that passion to become the best versions of themselves, to become, and of course, the foundation is leadership with our program. You're going to get that regardless of concentration. We have the 4 different concentrations: leadership, healthcare, HR, and operations management for the MBA, but every concentration starts with that foundational leadership course. And the main textbook for that is Jack Welch's book Winning.
Yes. And which was written by Jack and his wife, Susie, in fact. Now, let me ask you this. Would you think that is work experience a criteria for admission?
Well, if you don't have 5 or more years of work experience, then you definitely have to take the GRE or GMAT.
Got it. That makes sense to me. Absolutely. Now, Tony, let me ask you a fun question. Who do you reject? Who do you turn down? What kind of people do you turn down? I think this could be helpful.
Oh, wow. So,
and let's make it less obvious. Okay. Like they don't have a 2.5 GPA. They don't, their GMAT score is less than 600. Let's make it more interesting than that.
So I think for that, barring those extreme cases to the side, if somebody really just being quite frank tanks the interview, right, that tells me that they're going to have trouble communicating with their peers or working in a group. They may not have the demeanor to be out in front of recruiters, right? May not represent the school well in those situations. Those are some of the people that we have to turn down, unfortunately. who may be sort of beyond the interventions that we can put in place to really help them become, these professional communicators and really polish up their demeanor. You know, a sort of example that I can provide too, just a bizarre interview that I had one time. Somebody sang to me as part of one of their questions. It just, sort of didn't have
I
any
hope it
place
was
within
in
the interview.
tune.
Yeah, I just sat there. I listened to the serenade. I said, "Thank you very much. We'll be in touch," and that was that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and obviously, just thinking about what you just said, you want some sort of poise during the interview that suggests at least the potential of executive presence. But you're not expecting someone to be as incredibly polished and finished a product as a Jamie Dimon at Chase,
Of course.
because you're going to do a lot of work on their professional and personal development in the MBA program, which is one of the great things about MBAs and why they're so transformative to people. But I totally get that. Okay, Cassie, you're probably evaluating round two candidates and deciding who to accept and who to reject. Tell me about someone you turned down recently.
Oh gosh. Um, so I will add that, oftentimes people are pursuing an MBA and they maybe just don't quite have that those years of work experience under their belt, to what Carla mentioned earlier. And so we're really looking for people to at least have 3 years. I think that allows you to get out of the degree what it was designed to do. So you can't make a pivot in your career if you have yet to kind of have a career, right? And so
True.
oftentimes we're turning people down who maybe don't quite have those years of work experience yet. I'll also echo what Tony said. I think interview is incredibly important. I think there definitely are ways where you don't show your best self in the interview. I'll also say that, sometimes the MBA is not the degree that is going to get people to that post career MBA career goal that they have. And so we are incredibly upfront with candidates if we feel like this isn't the right path for you, what you want to do. Maybe it's not only just an MBA in general, or maybe it's not our MBA. I think we each have unique programs who kind of do different things. And so maybe you have a career goal to, 100% you want to be in supply chain, right? Or something like that. That's not a major at Notre Dame. And so maybe there are definitely other programs out there that might be a better fit for you. So we're incredibly honest and upfront about that.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I want the candidate to find that best fit for them. And we may not be that, and that's okay. And so I just hope everyone who's listening knows that we do our due diligence on our end to help you get to that career goal that you have for yourself. And sometimes it's not our school that's the best place.
Yeah, that's well put. And I will also explain why work experience is so important. Number one,
Yes.
when you go into a business program like an MBA and you've had work experience, you've seen different situations that you may have been challenged by or puzzled by in terms of what decisions were made. So bringing that into the classroom and seeing it in a different context and looking back on it and drawing from it, it's an important element of an MBA program. The other really important thing is class participation. Most of the learning in an MBA program, as good as the professors are, occurs among your peers, because they bring an incredible wealth of experience into the classroom that they share openly and candidly with their classmates. And if you have no full-time work experience to share, you have no insight to add, no value to add.
Exactly.
It decimates the program. It diminishes the quality of the program and the kinds of conversations that need to be had in the MBA classroom. So that's why.
Yeah.
And sure, Carla, with the 17-year average of work experience, I can only imagine the kinds of conversations that are going on among those classmates in breakout sessions and everything else, because they're bringing a wealth of knowledge to every challenge you present them.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I was a student in the program. It was just so fascinating to find the people I would be. I was in class with, one class I had a former general and a CEO and a doctor, and then a few people that were just, at that 5-year mark and aspiring leaders. And so, but you learned as much from every single one of them, from every walk of life. And it's just really, really fascinating. We have a very diverse community. But again, the people that we do say maybe not no, but maybe not yet, is if they don't have any experience to draw from, because it's really not going to benefit them, and it's not going to we want it to be the best fit we want them to be the best fit for us, but also this to be the best program for them. And it's really not going to benefit if all the assignments and everything that they're doing is geared towards them talking about how they can apply it to what they've been through or what they're going through now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fair to them.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Now, Tony, one of my favorite things to do is when I come to a campus is to go out to a bar with students. And the one question I inevitably ask them is this. Give me 3 things about your MBA experience that you will long remember well past your graduation and that were meaningful to you. What are you going to take away? What will endure? What really matters? What do you think your students at Tepper are going to tell me?
Yeah, so first, I think they'll take you to Mario's Saloon in Shadyside. That tends to be the Tepper
I'm
haunt
loving it.
for the
I'm loving
students.
it already.
But no, I think first and foremost, they'll talk about the community. Just being around their peers, there's nothing quite like it. That is truly what is going to make or break your MBA experience, is the cohort that you're with. Our cohort is a very tight, cohesive unit. We've been fortunate enough to create those bonds with them from their point of admission through graduation. So they are going through it thick and thin. Number one, definitely the community. Number two, I would say that their global experiences are something that they can look back upon as well. Looking at these embedded international opportunities in their capstone courses that take them all across the globe. They may or may not have the experience to do that in the future, right? Having some truly international experiences for as little cost as they're probably doing it now through their education. It really opens their eyes to how things are done in different parts of the world and helps expand a lot of their cultural competencies. And the third part, I would say, is probably their that's a bit of a tougher one. So I have some students who really work with our entrepreneurship center. They love every stage of the entrepreneurship center, from inception of the idea to launching, to the growth stages, to interacting with alumni, raising capital, really being involved with some of the initiatives that are coming out of the Sports Center. For those of you who may not know, the Sports Center is also the birthplace of Duolingo. So they're getting some great experience from fantastic founders in that area.
And what I love about your entrepreneurship center is that it's university-wide and it's housed in the business school. So it's a place where people from different backgrounds, different disciplines collide with MBAs to make stuff happen. It's not just a bunch of MBAs dreaming up something, because you got computer science students in there, you got engineering science students, you got public policy students in there. And I think that's a really great way to make entrepreneurship happen when you're building something on a campus. Okay, Cassie, your 3 things.
Yeah, great question. So number one, I would say just the different experiential learning opportunities that students have in the program. We have something that's called the Meyer Business on the Frontlines program, which allows students to, it's a semester-long course, which allowing students, trying to make this quick here and not take forever on this, but students work on a small group and they go into a post-conflict society somewhere around the world. They're working with a partner organization, maybe a nonprofit, NGO, governmental agency, and they're using what they're learning in the MBA and they're putting that into practice to help make change and help make something better for an organization. So these are real world business problems that students are working on. Not every student takes part in Business on the Frontlines, though. And so students, through other experiential learning opportunities, do mini consulting projects across the US during something that we call our Grow Irish Week. which is just really an opportunity to break outside of the classroom, put into practice what you're learning, and also something that gives you a little taste of an industry or a function that maybe you didn't know you were always interested in. So it gets you outside of those classroom walls. Those experiences, I think, are pivotal in the MBA. I think they are fun. You're with your classmates, but you're also doing something that you're doing important work at the same time. And so I think that would be number one. Number two, I would say would be kind of those leadership development experiences that students have in the program. So we have something that students go through the very first week that they're on campus that's called Integral Leadership Development. We call it ILD. And it's really designed around the premise of pushing students to explore who they already are as a leader. Who are you? What do you care about? What are you passionate about? Okay, now that you've taken the time to think about those things, what goals do you want to set? Do you want to set for yourself as you go through this adventure for the next 2 years, so that you come out of the program, a more well-rounded, individual. And so even during that week, you do a sleep study, a health study. So it's really about the whole person, and I think that is unique to us and really speaks to what we care about at the university as well. And so I think it's that piece. And then I'll also say, not to copy Tony, but I think it's that community piece as well at Notre Dame. It's cohort, it's a small cohort. It's a community of mutual advancement where people care deeply about one another, but they also care deeply about Notre Dame. And so it's people coming together in that sense, in that cohort. And I always hear that what made students their program experience special was simply the people. I think it's going to football games, and it's going to club events, and it's all of those social things combined together. But at the end of the day, the people that you will meet in this program will change your life. And I think that's something that is really unique to that cohort in-person model. So sorry, Tony, I copied you, but I have to echo that as well.
No, and that is an important thing. I mean, I think, one of the wonderful things about MBA programs is you'll find your people. You will find your tribe, smart, ambitious people who
Yes.
want to have an impactful career and
Mhm.
meaningful life. And that's why they're there. And they're going to be just like you, because those are the values and the goals that they have for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. You're going to meet people who you'll want around your dinner table at home for the rest of your life. And that's the magic of many MBA programs. And now that you're older and a graduate student, you're really, connecting, as opposed to your undergraduate years. You may not know what's going on. You may not know what's in store for you. You're trying a whole bunch of things out. It may or may not work, but in graduate school, people know what they want. They're there for a purpose, and it's universal among all the students, which really bonds them. Okay, 3 things that the Jack Welch management that people take away and remember forever.
I don't know if I can narrow it down to just 3, but I will tell you, we had a capstone call last week with all of our capstone students, and Dean Mary Carr hosted it. You can ask her about it later. But it was incredible because it was to hear from the capstone students, they almost unanimously, really express how much they love that. It's not just a tagline. They loved just how they could turn around and take what they're learning turn around and apply to what they were doing, see an immediate impact, and that, see results with that. They were getting noticed, they're getting promoted. They were talking about how they're getting these promotions because of the way the program is designed to be so practical. So that is the one thing that we heard from our capstone students last week, and in general. They also love the quality of the faculty and the level of interaction and personal interaction that they got from each of their faculty. Many of them said it was like surrounding yourself with your own team of business consultants, and they don't just stick with you for that one class. That's a relationship that, just like the relationships you're going to make with your peers going through the program, those relationships that you make with your faculty are lifelong relationships. So they stick with them, and it's like I said, it's almost like surrounding yourself with your own team of business consultants. And the other thing that we unanimously heard is that the confidence has grown exponentially. I mean, I say it all the time, but it's really true. This MBA program really not only changes the way you're going to look at the world, but it's going to change the way the world looks at you. And our alumni, 98% of them say their confidence has grown exponentially as a leader. So, and then I'm going to copy Tony and Cassie because it's true that they also talked about they loved our JWMI networking community. And that may seem a little strange being that we're 100% online, but we have a award-winning platform. It's called JWMI Connect. We had 75 virtual events last year alone. So almost every week we're having virtual networking coffees and events and different webinars and different subjects. And then we have actually 150 hub cities where we actually do have people meeting up live and interacting in 150 hub cities around the world. So they love the community, the alumni and the students. There's a tremendous amount of fellowship and camaraderie. In fact, when we have our kickoff calls, we a lot of times say, welcome to the JWMI family, because it very much feels like a family here.
I love that. Now, you dropped a couple of words that really make me think about Jack. Self-confidence and grit. These are two things that Jack believed were essential to a good leader, and they really are. And by self-confidence, we're not talking about arrogance or cockiness. We're talking about the confidence to make important decisions where information is complex and ambiguous. But making those decisions is essential. And the more you make, the better off you're going to be, even when you make the wrong decision. And that's why self-confidence is so important. And grit, man, you got to hang in there. It's a tough world. You got to be resilient. And all of a great MBA program teaches you that, hey, you're not going to get it right. It's like playing baseball. If you hit 300, meaning you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a superstar, okay? It is very much the same way in business. You're not going to hit it out of the park all the time. And learning from those mistakes is essential, and that's what you get in the good MBA program. So let me ask you our last question. If someone is interested in pursuing an MBA at your school, what should they be doing? What advice do you have, Tony?
Yeah, so if you're interested in pursuing an MBA, contact us. Simple as that. Our website is cmu.edu/Tepper, and we're also available at Tepper-MBA at andrew.cmu.edu.
That's great. And I'm going to also add, you have great websites, tremendous amounts of information on them, on all the core courses, the elective offerings, admissions advice, what it takes to get in, what you're really looking for. You should really examine and read everything you can about the school before you apply, so you're applying as a knowledgeable candidate. Okay, Notre Dame, what should they know?
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, John, that you just shared. I think it's so valuable to do your research and talk to schools and find that best fit for you. So our website is mba.nd.edu. You can reach us there. If you want to send me an email, mba.business@nd.edu. That's a way to connect with our broader team as well. But I also encourage you to visit. We offer campus visit opportunities every week. We also offer some larger visit days, both in the spring and the fall. I'm such a vibe person. I think it's so valuable to, if you do have the opportunity to check out the campus in person. I think we're getting back to that post-COVID. I think opportunities are opening up. And so we would love to welcome you to campus. You would meet with a member of our admissions team. You would meet with a current student, go on a tour. And we also have, as part of our visits, you have the opportunity to meet with a career coach as well. And so I think, we would love to welcome all of you to join us.
Yeah, and I think kicking the tires like that in an in-person program is essential. Spend a day and, sit in the class, be a fly on the wall, have a drink or lunch with a student, and meet someone in the admissions office. And that the career thing that you're offering is something that's really special and is rare. Take advantage of it. This is, you got to get to know the school. You got to know that it's right for you. Okay.
100%.
And then for Jack Welch, what advice would you have?
Yes, very simple. Please go to our website. There's some incredible content on there. Look, there's some great content from Jack himself, a great little 2-minute video. It's jwmi.com. The first thing that will pop up when you go there, to 4 questions if you're interested in one of us reaching out to you, a request for information, 4 questions. But also, I would love for all of you, anybody that's interested, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Carla Bates Mueller on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can connect personally, and then I'll only ever be a LinkedIn message away, or you're also welcome to email me directly, and that's carla.mueller@jwmi.com. So, but again, definitely check out the website. There's incredible content on there.
Carla, Cassie, and Tony, thank you so much. I think we had a great session. I hope you learned a lot about these schools. You're going to learn more if you attend the next session with me. The MBA Road Ahead. We're going to have the program directors of all of these schools, and we'll dive deep into what you'll learn, what the structure and the pace of the MBA program is, how they differ from each other, whether there are concentrations and specialties in the program for you to pursue your passion. So stand by and you'll see that. Meantime, thank you for joining. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
And
John.
really consider these options. You know, these are 3 terrific options for you. And they're really well-run programs by people who are passionate about what they're doing. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for watching.